Hello guys, it is that time. It is this time. Now, I sat last night and I filled in. I'm just going to start at the beginning. I filled in about 5 different lists. So, today I am going to go with the very first list on this, which is, let me cover what I've written. List your favourite films of all time. I don't know what Harold and Maude is. Maybe that's letting me down a backfall. Maybe it's something really famous. So, favourite films of all time. This is so hard, guys. And there more than likely is films that I have missed because it happens. I'm going to give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 honourable mentions here. I'm not going to spend a long time talking. I'm not going to put clips in. I'm going to do this as quickly as I can, which for me, I know is never quickly enough. So my honourable mentions are Seven, Saw, Poltergeist, Jaws and Braveheart. They're movies I absolutely love, but they didn't quite make the top 10. Can I also say that this top 10 list is not in any specific order? These movies, I love all of them. I can, maybe some I like more than others, but not enough that I can put them in a list. So at number 10, we've got Silence of the Lambs. I got down this list and I couldn't believe when I got to number 10 I hadn't remembered Silence of the Lambs. It's one of my favourite movies of all time. Both Anthony Hopkins and Jodie Foster's performance in this is just perfect. It's one of those movies, and I don't say it about many movies, it's one of those movies that's as close to perfect as you can get. There's nothing I would change about it. I absolutely love it. So Silence of the Lambs is my number 10. My number 9 is a movie that stylistically when I first saw, I was blown away. I went out, I got posters, I got framed pictures to put on the wall. I loved everything about the style and the imagery and the colour, everything, and it's Sin City. Absolutely adore it. Love the soundtrack. I remember when the trailers used to play in the cinema for this, the song that they'd be playing and how it looked, it was like, my god, this just looks amazing. I love it. Cannot wait to see it. And it didn't let me down. Sin City 2, I really like. It's not a touch on the first one. Absolutely adore Sin City and everything about it. So that's my number 9. My number 8 is a weird one. Sometimes I will watch a romantic movie that will completely hit me in that little black heart of mine that doesn't really like romance movies. And it's Cyrano. Not the original Gerard Depardieu version, not the Roxanne version with Steve Martin, much as I like that version. This is the Peter Dinklage version. I love it. I love everything about it. The character that he plays in this, I fell in love with. I just love the songs. I love the performances in it. I love how it looks. I love Peter Dinklage. So Cyrano is one of only 2 romance movies that's made my top 10 movies of all time. You will know the other if you know me at all. Number 7 is that other film. It's Amy Foster, or Swept from the Sea, with Rachel Weisz and Vincent Perez. Also has Kathy Bates. What's that actor? His name's gone right off the top of my head now. It's gone. It's not coming. It's got a really good cast in it, but it's not for everyone. It's set and it's like off the coast of the south of England, and it's about a ship that washes up on the sea, and there's one survivor, and he falls in love with a woman from a very weird gothic-y kind of woman from that town. It's set way back years ago, and it's beautiful. It's just so simplistic and sweet and nice, and I love everything about both their characters, and they're just a perfect couple. I love the movie. Yeah, Amy Foster. So number 6 is another one of those movies on the list of not very many that I would say are perfect, and that is Back to the Future. I first saw this in my teens somewhere. This was probably my first proper crush, was Michael J. Fox. I watched that opening scene over and over and over again of him in the bed, of all the mechanical stuff going to feed the dog, and then he plays his like massive big speaker with his guitar. Love this movie, love everything about it. It was almost magical to me. Someone said, what's the first movie that made you fall in love with movies? It would be this one. I watched a lot of movies before this that I adore, but this one, I think I spent the whole movie with my mouth open. I adore everything about this movie. So yeah, Back to the Future is my number 6. Number 5 is and still is my favourite comedy of all time. It's not very PC. I See No Evil, Hear No Evil. Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor as a comedy duo are just genius. I know they've done a lot of movies together, but this one's my favourite. I saw it at the cinema when I was 13. Shouldn't have been watching it, but what can you do? Yeah, love it. Still love it. I saw it that long ago and it's been my favourite comedy for that many years. Absolutely adore it. It does not make light of people that are deaf or blind. The joke is not on them, the joke is on everyone else. It's just refreshingly funny without having to bring the whole PC brigade into it. It's not insulting, it's not offensive. The only unfortunate thing about it is Kevin Spacey's in it. But then he's in The Usual Suspects, which, why have I not written The Usual Suspects down here? The Usual Suspects should be on this list. But yeah, See No Evil, Hear No Evil is number 5. Number 4. Now, number 1, 2, 3, 4 are all horrors, guys. And I cannot separate these horrors into which one I prefer over the other. So, any order here. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I first saw this movie on what you would call a bounced copy. If you're old enough, you might know what that is. It's when someone makes a copy of a VHS for you from one that they have onto a blank tape. You would say that they bounced the tape. At least they did here. So someone had taped this on a video for me. That's a complete lie, they hadn't. They had taped forensic files and FBI files on a video for me, and this was at the end of it. So when I'd finished watching forensic files, this came on. I was transfixed, couldn't take my eyes away from it, and it was quite a bad copy, and I think that graininess actually added something to this movie. Love it, love the feet. It's the first movie that actually chilled me to the bone. That scene where he slams shut the door after he's pulled the woman inside that metal door just really freaked me out, and him running after her and the way he moves with the chainsaw. Love it. Chilling movie. Fantastic. Number 3 is still the best werewolf movie that has ever been made, is American Werewolf in London. That transformation scene has yet to be surpassed. I've seen some decent werewolf movies. I love Dog Soldiers. I love Ginger Snaps. I haven't seen The Howling. People will say you're a disgrace, Lisa, watch it. I will at some stage. But American Werewolf in London, to me, is just that scene, that transformation scene. Why have we not been able to match that yet? Amazing. The fact they actually showed the pain and how painful that would be, and they actually decided to go with that, and the juxtaposition of the song that's playing in the background, and as it's spanning around the room, there's like a little Mickey Mouse and stuff, and it's just all so beautifully put together. I love it. So number 2 is The Shining. Jack Nicholson, perfect performance, really creepy. His performance makes this movie, but also Shelley Duvall's performance. She was terrified through half of this movie, for real. Jack Nicholson, I think, was a bit of a git because he got proper into character to play this Jack. What was his name? Jack Torrance? Am I imagining that? Jack Torrance, I'm sure it was. Fantastic movie, faultless, imagery is just amazing, performances are top notch. Kid is not remotely annoying, which is, quite difficult these days. So The Shining is my number 2. And my number 1 favourite film of all time. As I say, the last 3 I can't put in order, nor this one. This is my most watched movie, is Misery. There's something about that movie, the storyline, how it's all put together, that I can watch repeatedly and not get bored of it. It's obviously Kathy Bates and James Caan. She plays the just wonderful Annie Wilkes, who's a bit of a psycho, who has James Caan holed up with her in a little cabin looking after him after a car accident, and just things go downhill very quickly. Love it, love the performances, love the tension. I still get nervous and anxious and tense when he's out of his room and has to get back in without her finding out, even though I know exactly what's going to happen. Love it. Fantastic. Now, actually, it's not perfect. I will say there's a bit at the end of it, a scene when he's in a restaurant and he thinks he sees her, but that's not what it is. It's obviously PTSD, and he's seeing her face in other people. I don't like that bit. I don't think that bit should be in it. I don't think it should have went as far as it did. But yeah, that is my top 10 movies of all time, with a little few honourable mentions in there. There are so many movies, guys, I haven't included that I love, but there'll be ones I watch the most often and that have the biggest impact on me. So obviously, as always, please feel free to let me know yours in the comments, or do a video yourself, whatever. I love to see what your viewpoints are. Thanks so much for watching this video, and next time it shall be independent films I love. So I'll be doing that for you in a week. Thanks so much for watching today. Over and out from Lisa Lives.